You probably saw it in the news. NIO has launched a new 75 kilowatt hour battery, and I actually called this one out before we now get the actual news around it as a rumor. But I'm not here to tell you the news in terms of like what the specs are of the battery. Of course, it's more cost effective. It's closing up with some battery ingredients used by competitors like BYD and Tesla. And yes, of course, it will enable more range. But now this video is more about the broader picture, what this means for NIO users, and why I think this is actually getting to the core of what makes the competitive edge of NIO. So this new battery points out one of the key advantages of NIO again, which is battery swapping, and that not coming to down what it means for charging the vehicle quickly or being on a road trip and you swap in a new battery in just 5 minutes and you get ahead with it. No, the most significant thing for NIO buyers here is that they don't need to wait for stuff like this to happen. Actually, they just buy their car and are worryless about what may happen in the future, e.g. new battery technology is getting introduced. Even now, users can go ahead and order their car without worrying that this battery may not be in store for now, because frankly, they can just swap it in at a later point in time, and that makes a great flexibility, optionality, and user experience. That is the characteristic of NIO as a brand. But this really is driven by technology in a way. Of course, the battery swapping technology, but there is more to that. So I'm showing you a clip here of the introduction speech for the NIO OS 3.0, which by the way introduces really nice new functionalities as well as upgrades on the visuals and stuff like that. And when NIO introduced it, they had the UX designer and some of the NIO users attending the conference, and he told us this.
这个是我们在智能座舱硬件里边可以升级的东西。第二块 5G， 第三块环视影像360摄像头和 DVR 行车记录仪摄像头。
So if your Chinese is not as great, let me quickly translate it or give you the key points. So what he mentioned is that, well, they've now introduced a new NIO OS, but instead of just giving software updates to users and also the firmware updates, which can introduce new functionalities on the software side, of course, for NIO, this is not the end. NIO has always not only been thinking about the software side, but also about the hardware, as of course we know about the battery swapping, so swapping in the latest battery technology. And at the same time, as mentioned in this conference, NIO will also keep upgrading some of the major hardware components in the car. For instance, everything around the smart cockpit, so the dash cam, also the chip inside that is used for processing power, as well as stuff like connectivity like 5G. And so NIO is moving from the old platform, the 1.0 platform on which the most models currently are built, to the next platform, which ET7 will be based on, and that will introduce also the new autonomous driving functionalities, right? And so for the older platforms as well as for the newer platforms, we can expect that in the future NIO buyers will be actually able to change some of the major hardware components in sync with software updates. So not only will you get new functionalities introduced, but over time also more processing power, a better dash cam, a better 360-degree round view, stuff like a faster and better connectivity for the car. And all of this is possible because NIO has thought this through from the very beginning of swapping out those key factors, and thereby makes the vehicle very long lasting, because the vehicle is kind of separated from the battery, one of those degrading components, and where we can expect much more technology advances in the future, but also separated from the chip side, which is powering the software updates and so on. And so this is a wholly ecosystem that NIO has thought through that no other car manufacturer has to this extent. And thereby it's manifesting a user experience that other car manufacturers can simply not match. Even Tesla, which has, yes, they also can upgrade the full self-driving chip and stuff like that, but they cannot upgrade the batteries. And I'm not sure about the connectivity features and stuff like that. So this is really one of the key advantages of becoming a NIO buyer, and basically also how they think beyond just the car in an entire ecosystem way of thinking. And so ultimately, what does it mean? If you look at a NIO car today, the specs that it has are just the historic specs in a way, because it's not looking into the future of what is coming in terms of the battery technology, in terms of the chips that it's going to use, in terms of the connectivity and such. And that is a very powerful statement, I think, to prospective buyers. And by the way, during the last NIO Day, NIO has announced hybrid solid-state technology regarding batteries. So that is also an announced technology that we can look forward to, and that will be, if it comes out, really changing everything regarding the range of the batteries and security around fires and the durability again. And it's really convenient for users to know that the point that this technology comes out, they can make it accessible to them just by a simple swap. And by the way, I have some deep research that I've just shared with my patrons around this solid-state hybrid technology. I think I found out who is manufacturing it for NIO, and also to which quantity, and how the project is going actually. So if you're interested in that topic, check out my Patreon, but otherwise I will also of course make a dedicated video on this topic here on the channel. But for now, what I wanted to address here during this video is what I believe is the key here for NIO with the battery announced today, but also this broader scope of how NIO thinks around the vehicle technology and the car and the user experience. So let me know down in the comments what you think about it. Do you think this is a smart approach? Please leave a like for this video, and then see you in the next one.